Hey guys, welcome back. We are in chapter 8 of Annotating Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I sometimes forget to give it a little intro. My main purpose of this is to show that there is bigotry within books, right? Specifically, you cannot separate the art from the artist. Sometimes I will talk about what this particular author has done, because we know that she is very transphobic, and part of why we should not be supporting her is because that money she then donates to organizations, which then goes against trans people in England specifically. And I'm sorry, but trans women living their life does not affect me as a cis woman. And if you're gonna come at me like, oh my gosh, but you're using the term cis, yeah, guess what? It's a descriptor. It's a Latin descriptor. It's not a big freaking deal. It's not gonna take away from me being a woman. Okay? It really isn't. That being said, we are in chapter 8, so let's move on. Okay, in chapter 8, Harry, Hermione, and Ron visit Hogsmeade for the first time. Now, we do have to remember that Harry is not supposed to... No, wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Ron and Hermione went for the first time. Harry did not get to go. And that is because nobody signed the form for Harry's safety. First of all, his aunt and uncle were his uncle was going to, if he had behaved around Marge, which we saw in the beginning, that we kind of knew that was never going to happen. Even if Harry behaved tremendously amazing, right, perfect, could do no wrong, it was not going to be signed because they hate him. Second of all, Dumbledore and the mayor and McGonagall are never going to sign that paper because they want him to be safe and for him to be out of their view in anything. Like in the beginning when Harry was in Diagon Alley and then at Hogwarts, like, he's being watched over, right? Even though it may not be like hovering, people are watching over him for his safety. We also see some things like Snape making Lupin a potion to help his werewolf transformation. So we do actually, again, have foreshadowing. Also, Lupin, I didn't mention this in a previous video, I don't think. Lupin is a flower, which also means werewolf. By the way, dogs are allergic to that flower, which is kind of ironic. It's poisonous to dogs. So kind of funny, just ironic in my opinion. But we know that Snape knows that Lupin is a werewolf, right? And this does come later in. But we also have to remember that when Lupin and Snape were both children, that was when the Whomping Willow was first planted, and that was planted in order to protect Lupin during his transformations. And that's going to come into play because when Ron and Hermione go, there's a scene where they're looking at the Shrieking Shack. That was created, again, for Lupin. The screaming was Lupin transforming. See where I'm going with this? Like, it's not what people think it is. It's not haunted by any means. Okay. And then lastly, we have the fat lady, the portrait, disappears because the canvas was slashed by Sirius Black is trying to get into the Gryffindor common room. Again, they are fully thinking that Sirius Black is going after Harry. He is not. He knows that Peter Pettigrew is up in that common room and the dorms because he is Scabbers, Remember the Shrieking Shack? Yes, Lupin and Sirius Black were best friends, along with 2 other people, right? James Potter and Lupin, Wormtail, who was Scabbers, aka Peter Pettigrew, and then Sirius Black. These 4 were friends. The 3 of them, Sirius, James, and Peter, learned to transform to go along with Lupin, who had no choice. Do you see where I'm going with it? Like, there's just a lot of foreshadowing. Was there major bigotry involved in this? I mean, yes and no. Well, not to the same extent, but some, I would say, more ableism, more than anything. The way that Snape treats Lupin, even giving him his potion to help him, like, he really resents him. So I would say there is ableism. Again, we cannot get away from bigotry. Typically, when you are one form of bigotry, like transphobia, racist, blah, 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 the rest follow. We know that J.K. Rowling is transphobic. The rest is following. Okay? I know you cannot separate the art from the artist. So, while I know some people still appreciate her work, and there's some good points, right? There is still bigotry and bleeding into their work. This also goes for artists, painters, sculptors, actors. It doesn't matter what type of art you are, like what kind of artist you are, it bleeds into your work. Let's be clear. Alright, anyway, that is all I have today for Chapter 8. I will see you guys in the next video for Chapter 9.